Hello everybody, this is author Eyes-Dysell Swans of Everybody's Writing a Book. Let me tell my motherfucking story. And that's my fucking story, but you know, I bleeped it out. I'm back. I know I haven't been on here, but I'm gonna start getting back into my book writing. I'm just feeling it these last couple of days, storytelling and just getting back to the normal me. I'm doing one in my car right now. I'm about to read an insert from my book, and then I'm gonna just be going on to storytelling. Y'all see on my page. I just uploaded some stuff onto TikTok. Y'all can follow me over there. I'm learning. I'm still learning because like when I'm off, I'm off. I don't care to be on it, but I'm uploading. I'm starting to do some story times, some stuff that's not in the book. I'm talking about like the fighting and stuff, like how I learned how to be a fighter and stuff like that. But again, I'm gonna be back to reading, and I'm actually about to drop another book. I already have it. I just got to get I really don't really have to do too much because I was already on getting like book cover and all of that. Like I already got that down. Yeah, so I'm about to drop another book. I just had to take a load off. Like, I don't know, like sometimes, like I had a lot going on since the last time I even wrote an insert. What, July, August? August was the last time I had August. Where we at? No, we in December. December 1st is today. So I'm just trying to get back on my dean and, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to stay more focused on trying to get these books out and, just staying focused a little bit more. It gives me more, I don't know how to say it, but just when I'm reading and I'm focusing, this is not the only book I'm reading. I'm reading the ISIS papers. I'm going back and forth. I'm reading this book, that book, that book. I'm reading like 3 books at one time and just getting knowledge of oneself. I don't know. Like, I can do a lot of watching videos and stuff like that because it's like automatic, but again, I got a lot of going on. Like, I done switch around a couple of topics or whatever, but I'm gonna read this chapter. That I don't even know if I want to read that one, but then again, why do I care? Like at this point, I'm 52 years in the world. Like, nobody does anything for me. I don't do anything for nobody but the people in the street, my community. Let me see. All right, since I've been on my talking about my friends and fighting and my teenage life and all of that, so I'm gonna go on to chapter 44, and Everybody's Writing a Book. Let me tell my effing story, my fucking story. That's what it is. Fuckring, fucking story. Anyway, so I'm gonna read chapter 44. My book is not like the traditional book. I just did it the way I wanted it to be. It didn't have nothing to do with nobody else. So I just want to read chapter 44. It's Yeti, Emily, Stormy, and Carmen. If you know, you know. If y'all could put, you know, I can't put people's names in books or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to read this chapter because, like I said, I just uploaded videos of some of the stuff that I was doing from me being a friend. So this one is like my friend topic. Yeah, this is one of the, these are my younger friends from back then. Like I uploaded part 1 and part 2 of how we was fighting and stuff like that. Like a lot of my friends, how we would go to people's neighborhoods and we would fight and stuff like that. But I wanted to read this about, these are the friends that actually were the friends that we was fighting. This is going to go along with the book, but it's not actually going, the stories are not these stories might not relate to those stories, but these are the same friends that I'm talking about in part 2 of that book. Part 1 and part 2. This is when I moved to the South Bronx, 1405 College Avenue. I'll never forget. Like, College Avenue is always going to go down in history for me. It might not go down for history for other people, but for me, it's always going to be going down in history. All right, so let me get to it. Yeti and I lived in the same, well, let me go back. 44, Yeti, Emily, Stormy, and Carmen. Yeti and I lived in the same building down in the Bronx, the famous 1405 College Avenue, 170th Street. She lived on the first floor with her mom, brother, and sisters. I met her at 11 years old when I first moved to the Bronx. She was one of the first enemy friends. She was one of the girls that had no structure in her home. Her mother and father allowed her to do whatever she wanted. She was having sex at an early age and also had a baby and dropped out of school earlier than anyone. Yeti had a relationship with the neighborhood that no one had, and I wanted her to be my friend. It didn't start off as friendly at first. I had to prove my friendship with Yeti. Remember I told y'all in one of my videos that I used to have to fight my friends. These were my friends. They wanted to fight me in order for me to be, you had to fight them to be their friend. Like, it's just what it was. It was a different story than when I lived in Manhattan. But anyway, I had to prove my friendship with Yeti and the entire neighborhood girls and boys. 170 was a different type of life in a world as it was a fantasy. You're supposed to say it was. My book got a lot of, let me tell you this. My book got a lot of grammatical errors. So what? It's my first book. I'm proud of it. I put it out there. I was able to put my whole life out there, and you just read around it. It's just what it is. I was going to redo it and all that, but I'm not doing all that. And the world as I was a fantasy. Yeti and I linked up years later while in Albany when I was down in life. Depressed single mother with another child. Yeti was my superhero friend, real talk. Like, I think about, those are the stories I need to start processing and putting out there, me and her, because she was a real friend. She was a real friend. Like, I don't care what nobody say about her. She was my friend. She was my real friend. Hero friend, real talk. When you saw me, you saw her. Yeti and I were inseparable, and she was the friend everyone would want. Yeti had several children she gave up for adoption or to their father's family, and had more children later on. And she even took in her niece, who was her dead sibling's daughter, who died in jail. Yeti and I made shit happen point blank. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Yeti was a great friend and confident. Then some years later, we had a falling out because my house got robbed and all fingers pointed to Yeti and another childhood friend, Nene. As per Andre, he heard through the penal system what happened. I assisted Nene with getting an apartment and a job in the upstate area with my connections. Her sister was our friend who early on in the book I mentioned was stripped down and sent to the block with no clothes on. Remember I told you that my people's, and I named her T? Well, in my book, her name is Angel, R.I.P. to Angel. Anyway, it was supposed to say knew who robbed my home, as I treated both of these ladies with the utmost dignity and respect. I couldn't understand why they would cross me. Andre would call from jail and tell me what he heard through his connections. The word ran through the jail system that they had something to do with it, and I was even accused of masterminding it. Shaking my head, that wasn't her for real. But I truly believe it was one of his peoples, because his shit wasn't undercover. His name was everywhere. He trusted way too many souls, and every time I thought about it, it was always another friend that he had just met. People knew where we lived. That was always the scary part. But I knew I had nothing to do with it. I was actually just saving for my future when that robbery happened and everything went sour after. In the back of my mind, I never wanted to believe it. Still to this day, as I type these words, it was crazy how I was accused and I lost 2 more people in my life. Firstborn could have lost her life that day because she would have been home when they came inside the home. She was not feeling well that day and decided against staying home. She wasn't feeling well that day and decided against staying home and went to school. Thinking supreme to the utmost, she went to school. I don't know what I would have done if she was caught up in the unnecessary bullshit. had she walked in or let her or in or out her room to the robbers. They even put the dog inside the bedroom and closed the door. R.I.P. Bossy. That was our dog. I thought my father did the theft as well, but he was at the laundry and they stole a pair of Prada sneakers and carton of cigarettes that belonged to him. And if you knew Reynard, he had to have his carton of cigarettes. He was the one who called me and told me why I left the door open. I immediately returned home because I had just left using the bathroom. And one thing I wasn't going to do was leave my house door open. I also thought my landlord who lived underneath from me who was a Caucasian man, did it. He was very suspicious back then. I also was hurt because one of the things stolen was an Eastern Star ring, an original that belonged to Marion, which I had taken from her, but she stole it from a second original owner, Love. Yeti and our long life friendship would be over just like that. I mean, I checked in on her later on in life to see what was up. She gave me the 411 rundown, and that was it. That was one of my friends. I'm going on to Stormy. Stormy, being that we were new to the neighborhood, all the kids knew we were the new kids that moved in the famous 1405, and they would kick our apartment door and run. This was the shit that we did, like they did. And then I got in on it. I'm telling you, you had to prove to yourself that these were your friends back then. Turn that off. Anyway, they did this often. That's how we started being friends. Isn't that weird? Anyway, Yeti and my other neighbor's friend Stormy, who lived upstairs on the last floor with her entire family. All my friend's family was big as hell. It was at least 5 of them, and her mother still had more children after. Stormy was a twin, and they were almost inseparable. They hung out with the boys, and sometimes we all hung out together. We were all best friends during the early years, and they would come to my house to get me, and her brother would come get my sibling. We would be just like any young kids. We explored the neighborhood, hung on quarters, and went to the game room across the street and around the corner. It was something to do back in those days. We visited parks, got into fights with other neighborhoods, and found new friends to hang out with in other neighborhoods. Our elders made sure we stayed in our place. My friend's mother was strict as well as Mary, and Stormy would be placed on punishment for almost an entire summer. If Stormy and her siblings got out of line, her mother didn't play with them. We wouldn't see them for weeks. Mary would beat me and my brother so badly we just needed days to recover from open bruises and blisters on my hands. Going outside was a relief. We would sit outside for hours on cars in front of the building. Back in those days, cars were built with a certain metal than the cars are built today. I mean, we would stand on car hoods and they wouldn't dent or the bumper, and they didn't fall off as the world has evolved. Stormy and I got lots of money together on the streets of College Avenue. Stormy had a crush on a small-time drug dealer and had a baby who turned out to be just like the rest of the men in the world, abandoning their responsibilities. Me and Stormy went our separate ways, but remained friends on social media and linked up and had drinks. Stormy and I had never had bad blood between each other. We remain friends to this day. That is true. That is true. Emily was of Jamaican descent. She would be my first known Jamaican friend. Emily Mumble was the best Jamaican lady I knew in the building and in the fucking neighborhood. True story. Emily was a kid who lived with her mother, 2 brothers. Emily's mother didn't play with her either. She had to be in the house at a certain time. Emily lived in a building on the opposite side of the building, as did my other friends and their families. Emily was short in stature and was very quiet at times, but she was always a good friend. I don't believe I had any fights with her, maybe disagreements, but no fights. Emily's brother and I had a great friendship and took many pictures together during our hustling days. Emily's eldest brother began his life selling drugs, going to jail, and eventually spiraling out of control using drugs. Emily and her brothers were cool as fuck, and her mother was a saint. Emily is still my friend to this day. Emily and I check in from time to time. Emily lived in the famous 1405 before I moved in, so she had already built a bond with the neighborhood. I was just an added additional friend. Emily did her hustle and got money with us. Emily did her share of hanging out with us when we went terrorizing neighborhoods on Washington Avenue having teenage fun. Emily met a guy from from one of the neighborhoods we visited, and she became a young teenage mother. Emily and I have continued to be friends, and I have visited with Emily and her family several times over the years and from time to time to reach out and catch up. Yeah, that's my peoples. That's my peoples. Emily. Carmen lived upstairs in the building. She lived with her brother and sisters who were older than her by some years. However, Carmen was the one who couldn't stay out past the light pole coming on. Carmen was funny as hell. Her brother was tall and the skinniest person I've ever seen in my entire young life. Carmen's mother didn't play around with her. Carmen's mother would call her from the window, Carmen, and it was very loud. So she knew to get in the house. Shit, everyone in the neighborhood knew she better get in the house. Carmen's house started to be the hangout spot out on weekdays and weekends. Carmen's stepdad would drive a big truck for Oatmeal Company and would park in front of the building. Carmen was another friend who had a dad. I don't ever recall seeing my other friend's dad growing up. Anywho, Carmen's brother hung out with my sibling and the neighborhood boys and girls at times. That neighborhood kept us as a unit. Even with all the drugs and dope fiends we saw daily, I'm not sure if Carmen ever sold drugs, but her immediate circle indulged in drugs and sold them. Carmen didn't attend regular school. She went to a private school. Carmen fell in love with a church boy, and she had a baby with him. Carmen and I checked in from time to time. We remained friends on social media. Yes, so this is all tied into my friends. Like, when I say that, I wanted to correct some. If y'all see it on the video or whatever, when I say, oh, I don't never remember having no friends that didn't like me or didn't want to be around me. I could have had some people like that, but nobody, like from young, this age is from like 11 to like 14, right? This when I'm speaking of these friends on this subject, this 11 to 14, then I talk about my adult friends on TikTok, how I used to ride for mine. I was always fighting for my friends. So these are the friends that I used to hang out with. I was a fighter all my life. I had to fight. I wanted to let me read another chapter. Okay, this is the chapter right here. My lips ain't dry, but this is the chapter right here that's gonna go with the video, the adult friends. Chapter 48, Bronx and Harlem nights. I continued to work long hours and multiple days. I knew that was a healthy way to stay focused. I hung out hard with new, old, and mixed my friends. The Bronx and Harlem is where I spent most of my time. Bronx, South Bronx, Harlem, Manhattan, and did some hanging in Brooklyn briefly. I had many friends and foes, but mainly friends that were considered family. And that's true. All my friends that I grew up with, like, I'm really, like, friends with them to this day. Like, we still rock with each other on social media. I have a lot. If I got your number in this phone, that means we family, right? And that's true, because why would somebody have somebody's number and they don't rock with them? Yeah, I rock with all my friends. I can text somebody out the blue, they be like, who this? But, you know, it is what it is. They still, to me, if I have you on the phone, you're still my family. You're my family. All right. I had many friends and foes, but mainly friends that were considered family. I would go over to their apartments and they would come to my apartment. We spent the night or stayed as long as we wanted to. Those were the days of chilling, smoking, drinking, and having lots of fucking fun, laughing and knowing what friendship was like. Right. That's the fun we had growing up. They call them kickbacks, I believe now. I got stories for days, but I will take some of my stories to the grave. That is true. Some of my stories, I just can't. I can't indulge in them. But those were the good times too. Like, you see me smiling, cause we did a lot. I'm gonna say I did a lot of dumb stuff as a friend. Like, I really did. Like, sometimes I sit back, I'm like, yo, I really did that. Like, I was a dummy. Like, you gonna hear me referencing myself as a dummy, because I was. But, like, in all actuality, I'm not dumb. Like, I'm very smart. I got a lot of shit going on. Like, but I did a lot of dumb shit. Like, I have to take accountability for what I did. What I did then, I wouldn't do now. No way, form, fashion, shit. I just couldn't. My Harlem family and friends were from Stromberg Plaza. I spent many days and nights hanging inside Stromberg. I remember one night we would go get laughing taps from my Puerto Rican friend on 116th in Lexington, as we purchased enough for all of those that engaged. Not all my friends did engage. Nope, everybody, we all was into different things back then. I even offered it to my sibling and cousin. Lord forgive me. I promise you, I can remember them, like, because they were of age. They was like, they wasn't really of age. Let me don't say that. They were teenagers. And they was like, I want to be down. Like, they knew they was with me and they was safe. Like, let me don't say that because I didn't introduce them to it. It was like, it was something that we were all doing already. And, you know, they were there. You can do what you want to do. I feel bad. That was a dummy move as the adult sibling. Right. We would engage at least twice a month on this particular night. We were finished purchasing our laughing tabs, True or Lie Born, LSD for those who don't know. I'm not sure who introduced me to the drug LSD, but I was all in on having a good time. As we were walking to get our look, this is one of the fights I told you about that we had right before. I think we took ours so we could be already ahead of the game when it came down to it. Because when you take it, because this is a 24-hour high, right? It's definitely 24 hours. You got to be with a group of people. But I talked about this on one of the fights I had. This is one of the fights. We cut through the projects between 115 and 112. My friend Harlem was looking for, I call her my friend E on the video. This is Harlem right here. This is her. Was looking for her boyfriend Stan, RP. She observed Stan hugged up on his chick. It was on sight. That's the new term nowadays. But back then, it was at that point, me and Harlem immediately jumped her. And when I say immediately jumped and beat the shit out of her, I stole her leather jacket, leather coat, and sold it to my friend Tamara boyfriend for a quick $500 and split the money with Harlem. Exactly. I told you I did that. My friend's boyfriend was a dope fiend back then. But he was getting money. He was a dope head. He was a fly nigga, but he like, that jacket was fly. Like, we didn't associate ourselves with nothing that was the nicest shit back then. Okay, let me say that my life was fun and I terrorized people and made threats and was very aggressive at that point in my life. Marion taught me how to be aggressive. When I say all my life I had to fight, that is what it was. I was taught to be an aggressive person. Like, it takes years. I'm working on that on my own as an adult. Like, I didn't get that until I was an adult. Like, I can't be this angry. I can't be this mad. I can't be this all my life. And it was really taking a toll on me because I'm like, rah, rah, rah. Like, I was rah, rah, rah everywhere I was at. People knew like I had this assertiveness about me. Like, yo, fuck around and find out. Honestly, it was the dumbest way I thought. Like, but again, I was taught to be aggressive because the person that was beating me was aggressive. Let me say that my life was fun and I terrorized people and I made threats and was very aggressive at that point in my life. At that point in my life, that was that. Marion taught me how to be aggressive, but karma has a way to come and bite you in the ass, and trust it came. I waited and karma came in small dosages, but I continued to act out with violence in certain situations. I felt like life had already kicked me down to my lowest form. What else could be my karma? It was. Life was smacking me all, and the choices that I made was just even more reckless, right? I was a no-talk person and a head buster when it came down to support my friends and family. I said that. I was. Like, they were the only people that I got them, like, and they always nice to me for some reason. Like, all my friends, let me think. I can't think of nobody that was more aggressive than me. Like, let me start from the young. Those girls wasn't aggressive. My my second. So I had like a group of girls that I grew up with. None of those girls was like aggressive. They might have fought, but they wasn't aggressive. Then my second group of friends on the other side of town, they wasn't aggressive neither. They didn't have that rah 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 about them, because I was always ready to protect my friends. I think I was the aggressive one out of all my friends. I was. All right, well, at least I'm being honest. I'm taking accountability for it. I was a no-talk person and a head buster when it came down to support my friends and family. They were all I had. I didn't allow anyone to fuck with my friends and family, but no one ever protected me as I look back, because I was the strong friend. I was. But I never was in situations where I had to go get somebody. I would just fight. Like, I remember having this fight one time right after I had an abortion. I just had an abortion. And I just came, my boyfriend and I got out the car to go to the supermarket. I'll never forget. Got out the car to go to the supermarket. He went with me. And, like, granted, this wasn't even, like, being honest, he went with me. We went to the supermarket on the corner. I'll never forget, in 3rd Avenue, 170. And I ran into this chick I didn't like. And why I didn't like her is because I'm trying to figure out her name started with a Y. Her name was, yeah, I know her name. Her name started with Y. Her name was Y, but she hung out with this another girl named W, right? And her and W used to be everywhere. Y and W used to be everywhere. Like, me and my friends, when you seen them, you see me, right? But I just came back from having an abortion, and we running. We go in the store. We come to the supermarket. I was like, well, I'm going to get some stuff, some soup and stuff before I go in the house, because I'm going to be down for like a day or two. Like, I knew what it was, because it wasn't my first abortion. Like, honestly, I'm putting it out there. This is my life, right? So I knew I was going to be down. I was like, yo, help me, get into the house and all of that. And so I come out the store, turn the corner, and why is they coming down the block? She coming down the block. I'm like, I gotta fight her. I'm weak. Your girl would not budge. Like, I'm weak. So my boyfriend at the time, he like, yo, come on with that. I'm like, yo, I gotta fight her. It's like on GP. That's what we called it back then, right? I had to fight her. And I had little box braids in my hair. What I do know is that I didn't let up. I had to fight her. We fighting. She got the best of me, honestly. But I didn't allow her to think she got the best of me. And I had to tell him, like, listen, we got to shoot this fair one. You right here. You the only mediator, right? You got to make sure, like, it's just what it is. We going to do this one fight, boom, and then break it up, and then I'm going about my business. He was like, all right. So we fought, went about my business, but I fought. I didn't care. Like, and this is why I say I was fearless. Like, there's no way, the way I felt, it felt like I just had a baby. I just got aborted. Like, my insides was open. I'm bloody. I'm like, my mind is like, if anybody know, when you have an abortion, you go through all of this stuff crying, like, oh, why did I give this baby? Why did I have an abortion? I killed my baby. It makes you feel like a fucked up person inside. Like, I don't care who you are. It really makes you feel like a fucked up person inside when you have an abortion. But I still had to be strong, like, at the end of the day. But that was just something that when I say, but no one protected me, as I look back, because I was a strong friend. I was the strong friend. And I'm just writing on here, lysergic acid, thiamate, commonly known as LSD and known colloquially as acid, is a potent psychedelic drug. Effects typically include intensified thoughts, emotions, and sensory perception. At sufficiently high doses, LSD manifests primarily mental, visual, and auditory hallucinations. Now, this we called the tabs back then. Had I been in a space where I was like on a depression, I could have checked out and never came back. I could have. That's what LSD has done to people. I've seen it. And I had some friends that smoked dust, but I know dust was more like one of those type of drugs. But LSD was even a heightened one, because dust was more of a weed smoking. LSD went straight into the bloodstream, right? It went into the bloodstream, and it had us laughing. We laughed, talk shit, laughed. It was more like for fun for us. Anyway, we did it in our teenage years. Anyway, thank God we all still here and we all doing good. I think we all a little certified though a little bit, but that's just given because we born in New York. I remember another time I had to be either coming or going into a store, and I talked about her too. And the fight that we had, like I called her K in the story online, in my TikTok, and I called her Nana in here. Nana, same person. So I remember another time I had to be either coming or going, but I remember I was going because I had to go get some stuff. I'm kind of hot. I was cold at first. Oh, right. Because it came back to me. I was going to the store because I just came from uptown from the Bronx. Store, I bumped into Nana from my block, who was pretty much born and raised around 111. Nana had many family and friends in the neighborhood. I just started hanging out with them on 110th and 111th Street because I was dating a guy from that block. Actually, Harlem's brother-in-law, that was who I was dating. Started hanging out with them on 110th Street and 111th Street because I was dating a guy from that block. One day I ran into Nana. She looked disgusted and mad as fuck. I said, what's up to her? And Nana started telling me about an issue she had with some dude / faggot around the corner in the projects on 112th Street and 5th Avenue side. Nana asked me if I wanted to go with her to straighten out the problem. The risk taker I am. I told you, I'm going to roll this window now. It's starting to warm up. What time is it? These people. All right, back at it. Sorry, I had to pause it. Now I'm learning how to pause instead of pushing that middle, because that red dot will just make me start all over again. So on the 5th Avenue side, Nana asked me if I wanted to go with her to straighten out a problem. The risk taker that I am, I without hesitation walked around the block with Nana to get in this dude / faggot ass. I had her back for whoever else wanted it that night as well. I didn't care. And again, I got all of this aggression, being a fighter, from the lady that got me from 3 days old, my foster parent. Very aggressive woman, surly, all of that. Vile, she's everything beneath, and I became somewhat as her, but in a different fashion. At least I had friends that I protected, I loved, and I would go to bat for. She didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a difference between me and my friends and her friends. How she treated her peoples. I didn't treat my peoples bad. I didn't. I just didn't. I didn't treat my friends bad. All right. When we hit the projects and cut through, Nana spotted the faggot. That is what we called them back in our day. Anyway, Nana saw the gay dude sitting on the benches with a bunch of bitches. Nana and I, at this point, we were both on their territory, which I never gave a fuck. Because when I tell you all the stories, I'm always on somebody else's territory when we fighting. We're never on, like, I could tell you a couple of stories. I got a couple of little small stories that I had with some girls in my building, but these wasn't the girls that I hung around. These are girls that, I don't know, I'll tell you about those. But when I tell you we always fought on somebody else's block, we didn't give a fuck. We went to their block and fought. I was fearless. Like, danger never, I was always thinking dangerous anyway, because even in my own home, sleeping in my own bed as a foster kid, I could be asleep and getting beat out of my sleep with a brick, with a fucking pipe, with a broomstick, with a switch out of my sleep. So I was always on alert, but I didn't care. Like, in the pain that subdued my body, it was something that I learned to endure and like. Like, you might not understand it, but when, like, for instance, like, I used to hit my pinky toe or hit my foot. When people, I know that's supposed to hurt, but to me, it felt like a release of, and I would just keep walking. When I fell in my house and I hurt myself, I just jumped right back up and kept walking. Like, any type of pain I endured over the years, I just accepted it. Like, it's pain. I've been through pain all my life. Like, I just picked, it hurt, but I kept it moving. But anyway, I don't know if that makes sense. We hit the project, spotted the faggot. That is what we called him back in our days. Nana saw the gay dude sitting on the benches with a bunch of bitches. Nah. At this point, we were both on their territory, which I never gave a fuck about. I was over there to put in work. He started popping shit from the distance, and we dogged his ass out, dragging him from the bench from bench to bench and on the concrete. Nah. Didn't even worry about the bitches trying to jump us, because truth be told, we should have came out of that situation fucked up. I say that all the time, like, not one situation, and not just this one, we would be all over fighting, and none of us never came out with not a bruise, not nothing. We were fighting. We went to these niggas' neighborhood. This is their block. I'm new to this whole neighborhood. Me and Nana, I'm new to her. Granted, maybe 60 days that I knew her, right? 60 days. I'm going with somebody that I just met 60 days ago, and I'm going to go fight. That goes to show you, I'm a rider. Like, if I see somebody, and this is one of the things that my kids tell me when I was growing up, my daughter, she used to be like, Mom, mind your business. Don't get in that. That's not, I see somebody fighting, I see they out with, no. I'm not. She used to always tell me, she used to be kind of embarrassed about that. Like, Mom, don't insert yourself in that. No. If I see it's 5 of them and it's just one person, I'm in it. I don't know why I feel that way. I don't know why. But anyway, I wouldn't do it now. I got more of my thinking skills, logic, and all of that is different than how I was back then. Anyway, I didn't even worry about the bitches trying to jump us, because truth be told, we should have came out of that situation fucked up. 2 against 8 of them. It had to be 8 or 10 of them. And one was not only a faggot, but a man. He was a guy. He was around bitches. None of them bitches, on the strength of her, like, they didn't know who I was, these girls, but they knew her. See, a lot of people, when I got in situations, the people that I got in situations with, the neighborhoods that I'll fight my friends for people in their neighborhoods, their surrounding neighborhoods. But people never knew who I was. They'd be like, yo, who is this chick? And that's how a lot of my situations went. When I beat the girl up, that in my TikTok, you go to my TikTok, I talk about the dude that I went to go visit, and he played me. He had a girl up in the house or whatever while he was waiting for me to come over. But my friend that lived in them projects, I fought the girl. This is their projects. I was over there wilding and violating, like, right? I'm going to tell you another story. I fought a girl from my friend that lived over there, but nobody knew who I was. They just knew that was my friend. That was like that's her friend, but that's all they knew. I would come out like, yo, you don't fuck with my friend. Whoop, 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 Molly whopped her. And that was the end of that. Like, you see her, you don't say nothing to her. That's it. So that's how I was in like a lot of my situations. Thinking about it, like, I was the person that came out of nowhere, and they're like, yo, who's this? And like, fighting. 8 of them. Not only was one only a faggot, but a man. None of us are still friends to this day. Aggression, a type of behavior intended to cause physical or mental harm. All my life I had to fight. And I didn't really have to fight, but I don't know. I just did, because I was abused. That's the only way I can, I was an alpha male for That was a little rough and tough chick. I was a gangster bitch. A gangster bitch. But anyway, that was my my 2 stories. Everybody's writing a book. Let me tell my fucking story. And yeah, those are my 2 stories. And those align with my TikTok stories with fighting. So I remember, this is what I remember, right? These stories, the stories that I told, and they all align with each other. Like, I named them different people, but I connect the names with the ones in the books, because those are the stories that I really remember with my friends. I got a couple more too. I'm about to tell you another stuff. That's gonna be on story time. I'm gonna do that story time on the other one. But thank you for listening. Over and out. All my life I had to fight.